actors, so to speak, how they would feel, when you're doing big screen stuff, and to move people to tears or laughter or whatever the emotion is. But that was pretty moving, seeing that. 5 grown men and a couple other women that were on set, and they were all crying. Just from my words that came out of my mouth or the feeling that I put on the screen at that moment. So that was interesting.
Yeah, because you talk about that a little different than you talk about the other stuff.
Yeah. I don't get the opportunity, unfortunately, Mark, to do that kind of dramatic acting. I would love to. It just hasn't crossed my path that much. I mainly do TV commercials and these corporate training films and voiceovers. So, but you're always looking for the next gig, and you never know where it's going to come from. I could book something next week where I'm making Russ cry. You never know.
Yeah.
You do any more impressions?
No, I can mimic people like on the fly, a little bit here and there, but I wouldn't say I'm not a impressions.
Well, not impressions to like rip off people, just for fun.
Yeah, it's more of
it's like a one-off kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, the De Niro is I have a general look that kind of looks like him, but I have to contort my face to even look like him because I really don't look like him.
Yeah.
I have to do a lot of this.
Yeah, it's just squinting and
right.
Just squinting that sells it.
You got a gift, you. Yes, you do, Mark. Mark Hopkins.
Now get out of my sight. Keep the change.
Right.
John Wayne.
That's right.
Yeah.
They all speak the same.
No, that's how we tell the difference, actually.
Right. Do you see yourself doing it again, Mark? Getting on set? I know it was on your bucket list. You wanted to be an actor on a TV show, and you did it. You crossed it off your list.
Yeah. No. I mean, the people at the level where I was, because like you say, I'm just a background actor. But I remember that where I was, you went through like this express lane, and where we were, we got fed the things that came out of the chute that dropped off the tables from where you guys ate.
Right. Yeah. Well, Mark was on set, and it was like an ignorance is bliss thing. First, he has an emergency vehicle, and the Crown Vic with the emergency plates. He drives on set to it's beyond VIP parking. Like he pulled up right to where they're shooting, and he didn't think twice about it. We're parked miles away where they have to ship us up in vans and buses, and then he's standing in line with the SAG, where the Screen Actors Guild actors are, and Mark was non-union and was just first time on a set, and he's standing in line, where the mahi and the steak and the lobster and all this amazing food was.
Yeah, there was a lot of well-dressed people there. I just thought it was one line, and like with the car, I just pulled in, and it wasn't until shooting in the middle of the day I looked out the window. I'm like, that's the only car out there.
Right.
Why is that? Right. Why are there no other cars?
But then, to take a step back, when you said you couldn't see the cue card or whatever, and you were auditioning for the EMT role, and you put an iPad in a bag so you could read your lines?
Yeah.
That's ingenious. He put the lines in the...
Oh, are you going to be that guy? Are you going to be that guy? I told you about this.
I turned it off.
Oh, yeah, that's what they all say.
The most obnoxious ringtone and all. Who am I going to kill?
I'll tell you what.
I muted it.
Yeah, I muted it.
Doesn't it happen if someone calls you twice, it can bypass the...
It might have done that.
It might have been an emergency call.
It might have done that.
Oh, yeah, you can set emergency contact.
Like if someone calls twice within a short period of time, it'll go through.
Yeah.
On the third.
Oh, that was embarrassing, but...
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was different, but I know people who want to do it, and it's on their list, and they want to do it every day, and they live it, and that same energy that you do. And it's like, I think different people have different things, and I think part of the thing is like, you have not crushed your inner child. Your inner child is outside,
right.
And I think that really helps. That really helps wanting to do it. It would be exhausting like that. The one day on Creed was, people think it's this glamorous day. It was a 16-hour day. It was a 16-hour day, and they feed you. It's like a really stable cruise ship. They feed you well, but
right.
Well, hey, if they're willing to feed me,
it was a 16-hour day.
It's probably cheaper to pay me than to feed me.
Yeah.
It is interesting to see how it works behind the scenes.
Yes.
Like from your perspective, you were like, look at this, and look, and it does give you an appreciation of filmmaking or commercials or whatever the production is. That there's a lot more involved than you might think.
I can't get mad at the guy who called me and blew up my phone because his girlfriend was missing. Oh, that's why he kept calling back. So,
yeah, that's a good reason to call.
Yeah, no, this is a past case, but it's an exciting thing. I know people that want to get in it, but what kind of personality do you think people have to get involved in it?
That's a good question because I see every different personality. When I was working on, actually, it was Rocky Balboa. Again, background. It was not but it was fun. It was that was years ago. But I was standing next to a girl that her daytime gig was a thoracic surgeon. And she was a thoracic surgeon. She said, "Yeah, I just always wanted to be on a movie set, and I always wanted to be an actor." I mean, she was young. She was just starting out in that field, but that's her. She was a highly intelligent surgeon, and here I am doing background with her on Rocky Balboa.
Well, I guess you're kind of different locally because from what I see with the local actors, there's some ratio 75-25 or whatever where a lot of them have other jobs.
Right.
And they're a surgeon or this or that, and
right.
They do a little bit. And there seems to be like maybe this 25% that's just solid actors.
Right.
Whereas on the West Coast, it's probably the opposite. But everybody's a waiter out there, so that's part of it too.
Right. Yeah, and it is true what they say. Like everyone is involved in the business out there. It's amazing. It's not. It's it's remarkable. Like everyone you interact with, supermarket, checkout counter, cashier, whatever, they're all somehow connected to that industry.
Is there anything you ever thought about doing instead of this? I mean, you did the telecom thing, but what else would you want to do? I envied I've listened to some of your shows, Mark, and they're phenomenal. And I've even told you recently that I've envied a lot of these folks that just knew what they wanted to do as a young person, as a child or a teenager or whatever, and they just knew exactly what they wanted to do. I enjoy this. I enjoy the I'm a bit of a ham. I love entertaining, but I don't know specifically what I want to do with this. I just know that I'm going in the right direction, and I get reminders along the way, a little divine intervention or providence or whatever you might call it, that I am going in the right direction. So, it might not be a clear path, but I'm going the right direction. Well, there's the holistic stuff that you do.
Yeah, the natural health thing. I have an interest in that. That's something that I've always had an interest in. So as a young, I was probably 13 or 14 years old and went to my first health food store, and I just got it. I understood that food is medicine, that that we don't, while I do commercials for pharmaceutical companies right now, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that there's a lot of options you have before you go that route. And as Hippocrates said in 400 BC, let thy food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And I could talk for hours about all the different foods that could heal. And we know this. A lot of it is, we might call it old wives' tale or something it gets passed down from your grandmother to your mother to you. But a lot of food is designed to heal itself, and that's the way God or our Creator or whoever you might believe in, that's the way they gave us all the answers in food. So a lot of times we don't have a pharmaceutical.
Food is great.
Yeah, food is awesome. But. So are you into supplements or healthy foods, Russ?
No.
I can hear Mark laughing.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about those massive disclaimers on the medicine commercials, though?
Oh,
because I've seen them I stopped watching TV a while ago, but
yeah.
I see them on TV, and it's like, oh, this will cure this symptom.
Right.
But it'll also lead to internal bleeding, projectile vomiting, diarrhea,
loose stools,
yeah.
I don't know. It's
uncontrollable other things, sniffling, sneezing, runny nose,
it's pretty scary. I mean, there's a time and place.
Laundry list of terrible things.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, and I can't make any kind of claims one way or the other. I mean, there's a time and place for pharmaceuticals. Of course there is, especially in emergency medicine. Yeah. But I think with a lot of chronic things, I think there's other ways that people can look at food to heal, to put their body in a position to heal themselves. And if you know any chiropractors out there, a lot of them will use the term innate intelligence, that the body was designed to heal itself. You just have to put it in that position to do so. So, and that's with proper sleep, managing your stress, your relationships. It's about balance. And we all know that, but we struggle. Everyone struggles. I know I do. Mm-hmm. And you just try to do the best you can.
And I think you've impacted everybody with the health stuff to some degree. Everybody's picked up something from it. I did it before I met you. I tweeted a little after meeting you. It would be. It's like you said. If you get shot, stabbed, hit by a car, burned, you're not going to put apple cider vinegar.
right. Where's my baking soda paste? Yeah. Take me to the hospital. Give me the best.
Give me morphine.
Medicine. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I want NASA military grade pain medicine now. But and I tell people, and maybe you might think this is wrong, but I tell people that the holistic stuff, it seems to fail for some people because it doesn't work as well for sudden onset of stuff. You have to have it in your life prior,
right,
and keep it up. Right. It's the pharmaceutical stuff that works right away when you need something right away. But if you include this other stuff in your life, like apple cider vinegar and all that stuff, it'll help you take the edge off.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And look what you've done with garlic. You use garlic, Mark, as a we understand that garlic is nature's antibiotic, and
it's also
if you're
delicious.
But if you're fighting, but as Mark does, he eats it all year round. So the severity of a cold that might pop up, it's not going to be as bad because he's been strengthening his immune system along the way.
Is that why I never get sick?
Hey, well,
that's awesome.
Do you eat a lot of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
wow.
I have meatball sandwiches nearly every day. Meatball sandwiches.
Heavy on the garlic.
A meatball sandwich a day keeps the cold away.
Right.
Oh, man. One more reason to eat a meatball sandwich.
Right.
Every day. Yep.
Every day, yes.
Do you ever smell the garlic coming off of Mark?
I don't eat that much when I'm in here.
Oh, okay.
It's only a couple days a week.
See, that's what I would be afraid of, because I think with me, my body's constitution, I think it kind of comes out. So you sweat like a sinner in church. I mean, that's a sign of health. You want to sweat for perspiration. That's good.
I mean,
I would be embarrassed.
Summer Navy showers and. Right.
I always, if I'm out to dinner with Mark and I'm eating heavy garlic, I have to make sure what my social schedule and work schedule is going to be for the next day or two, because that stuff can, that can make you.
It's
very ripe.
Yeah, it's strong, but it does work as an antibiotic, and
that is awesome knowledge.
If you have a vampire problem,
right,
it keeps them away,
right.
But yeah, it's an interesting profession. I mean, I know a lot of people that want to try it once. It's on their bucket list or whatever, and see where it goes. It's interesting because it's all, in some ways, it's like, it's all the things I dislike. It's popularity and appearance and all that stuff. And it seems like it's very difficult. You've been doing it 20 years, but to establish like a network of relationships where people think, get Bagnell in here, he can do that. Because you tell me time and time again where people will forget and go seeking people instead of just asking the person next to them, like, hey.
I still haven't been able to figure that one out, why you could fall off someone's radar, but but then they do see you.
And then
5 years later, I'm like, oh, why didn't we think? I don't know.
Well, like the recent one was this.
Yeah.
The acting companies were seeking out somebody for a